7:04, Bridgewater Township Zoning Board of Adjustment. We're going to come to order. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, specifically on January 15, 2025. Proper notice was sent to the Courier News and the Star Ledger, filed with the clerk of the Township of Bridgewater, and posted on the Municipal Bulletin Board. Please be aware of the Zoning Board of Adjustment policy for public hearings. No new applications will be heard after 9:30 p.m., and no new testimony will be taken after 10 p.m. If you're able, please rise for the salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, good evening. Can we have a roll call, please?
Chairman Foose?
Here.
Mr. Whiteley?
I hear.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mrs. Amin?
Yeah.
Mr. Bongiorno?
Here.
Mr. Gajewski? Mr. Fresco is absent. Mr. Seacat?
Here.
Mr. Vesio?
Here.
Mr. Kulak is also absent. Mr. Gabbett? Absent. Mr. Aller, our board attorney.
Here.
Mr. Burr, board engineer. Ms. Samard, board planner.
Thank you.
Rashad. Mr. Rashad, traffic engineer. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We're going to open up the meeting to any members of the public that would like to speak on any land use matter that is not on our agenda tonight. You can come forward, use the microphone. Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion. We have no minutes tonight. And Rich, we don't have any resolutions, right?
Resolution.
All right. We have two applications tonight. First up, we're going to do Germunk Oil. They've been on our docket the longest. We're going to hear this case till about 8:30. Then we're going to take a break. And then we're going to do Cafe Emilia, probably around 8:35-ish, 8:40. So, Mr. Simon, good evening, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. Good to be back here as always. Rob Simon from Herald Law here on behalf of the applicant, Germunk Oil, LLC. Just to remind the board and reorient us, we're talking about amended preliminary and final site plan approval concerning property, Block 319, Lot 8, 24 Findern Avenue. We require certain relief, including some variance relief to minimally expand a pre-existing non-conforming gas station and mini-mart convenience store use in the R40 zone that received a prior approval back in 2017, and now we're just going to be asking or have been asking for an update, which also requires some variance relief that we outlined and set forth in detail during our prior hearing on this application. At this point, where we left off is that the board asked us to get some additional information, including from our professional engineer, and come back and present that to the board. So what I plan to do this evening is to have our engineer, Mr. Vandervalk, come back and provide some additional testimony that was requested. We also then have Ben Heller, our landscape architect, in response, again, to some questions from the board at that initial meeting. We have Mr. Byrne, the architect on the project. We have Mr. Bajwa, the operator, who's here to answer some questions that were raised at the last hearing. And we have Mr. McDonough, our professional planner. So with that, I would ask that Mr. Vandervalk come up. We'll confirm that he still remains sworn and to provide some additional testimony and answer some questions that were asked of him at the conclusion of the last hearing on this application.
Tyler, I will swear you again, though. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And again, for the record, your full name, please.
Tyler Vandervalk, Vandervalk.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I have some here too.
Okay, so Mr. Vandervalk, you remain sworn, and Mr. Aller also swore you in this evening. You were asked at the during the course of the last hearing and at the conclusion of the last hearing to answer some questions and provide some additional information and testimony regarding certain topics incident to our site plan application. Can you please proceed with those?
Yes, absolutely. So just to bring some clarifying points to some of the questions raised at the prior hearing, why don't we start off with an exhibit that I've prepared here, which is a swept path analysis. I think there was a question raised with the decrease in aisle width with the waiver we're requesting in the circulation. Will vehicles be able to get in and out of the parking spots with that configuration? So I prepared this exhibit. I'm not sure what we're up to.
Yeah, I'm checking that. Hold on. I don't know that we have any, right? This is A1.
Give one.
Yeah.
Prepared on May 6th of this year, entitled Swept Path Exhibit.
Could you make sure members of the public get a copy as well?
Yes, there are extra copies here if anybody from the public would have one. And again, what this depicts here is that,
So just, first of all, we're marking that A1, and just identify it by title block, please.
yes, Swept Path Exhibit dated May 6th of 2025. And what we take here is an SUV we show parked at both fueling positions closest to the parking stalls, as well as having cars accessing both the handicap stall and the stall next to it, which are the nearest to those fueling positions. And what we can see is the ability to back up at that 90 degree and avoid the vehicles that are fueling.
And that exhibit depicts the fact that there will be no safety or circulation concerns with regard to the movement of vehicles such as an SUV around the site.
Yeah, certainly there's space to maneuver.
So the site remains safe and efficient for maneuverability.
Correct.
Thank you. And there was also a question Mr. Vandervalk asked of you regarding a drainage pipe that was at the property.
Yes, the original site plan showed that the roof leaders from the canopy, as well as the roof leaders from the building, which currently doesn't exist, would be tied into the catch basin on the side street located to the south. That's 3rd Street. I have confirmed that that pipe was installed, so when the new building is constructed, of course, we would tie in those roof leaders into that existing pipe.
Thank you. And there was also a question, I believe, that Mr. Burr may have asked it toward the end of your testimony as to the size of the shell signage that was previously approved in relation or in comparison to the Delta signage that's at the property.
Yes, correct. When the new ownership took over, there was a rebranding, and the question was raised, well, how do the signs, or the sign, how does the pylon's price sign compare to what was approved? I've taken measurements of the sign. The original sign was approved at 4 feet wide by about 20.5 feet tall. And that left for 6-foot clearance beneath the sign. So overall, we had 14.5 feet by 4, and then proposed, or I'm sorry, as existing out there today is 5 by 9. So we actually saw a reduction in square footage. The original approval was for 55 square feet. They received a design waiver, and our proposal, or the existing condition with the Delta is 45 square feet.
So the sign is smaller than even what was approved.
Yeah, smaller in area and about 3 feet shorter in height.
I think there was a comment about an advertisement on a fence, and we're just confirming that that's going to be removed, correct?
Right, any temporary signing like that would be removed.
And then there was a question also about whether it was trip generation or just circulation that's generated from this project.
Right, so we did take a look at the trip generation based on the trip generation manual based on the ITE, Institute of Transportation Engineers. If we were to use the land use category of convenience store and gas station, which is, that category actually only bases trip generation on the number of fueling positions. So we would actually see no change in trip generation. Seeing as that doesn't change anything, we've actually considered it as a standalone convenience store for purposes of determining how many additional trips we would see. And the result was that during the morning peak hour, we would see 4 additional vehicles to the site, and in the evening peak hour, we would see 3 additional. So in the morning, an additional car about every 15 minutes, and then in the evening, an additional car about every 20 minutes. So
And that's just based on a scenario where the only use on the site is a convenience store,
correct.
correct? So that if, in fact, as will be testified to, the fact that most of the patrons to the convenience store or mini mart will be there primarily to fuel or initially to fuel, that number is expected to actually decrease, correct?
Yeah, correct. As mentioned, when we considered both convenience and gas station, there was no change. So this was a conservative assumption to see that slight change.
I believe that concludes the questioning of Mr. Vandervalk in terms of additional information that the board asks that we provide. And we open it up for questions of the engineer.
All right, board questions.
I have a question. You provided this turning analysis to show you can back out a car here. Now, the spot near the convenience store, that's an ADA, a van accessible ADA spot, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So the vehicle that you use is an SUV.
Yeah, this,
So
Or-
is the van have a larger turning radius than the SUV that you use to prove that the size of this parking area is acceptable?
I wouldn't anticipate, so no.
So the van would have the same turning radius as an SUV.
It would be comparable.
Would that in any way not make this kind of what you're showing here with 2 cars at the pumps and 2 cars in the parking stall, would that in any way have any issue, a van having any issue backing out?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question. You marked on the east side, I guess that's the northeast side, you marked it as brush. When I was just at the property, there's 2 mature trees there. I think they provide a substantial vegetative buffer. You're not planning to chop them down, right?
Definitely.
Everything's going to stay.
Yeah, the trees, for purposes of this exhibit, the trees were removed from the survey. It wasn't if you look at the original site plan
Right.
file, they should be on
I
there.
just wanted to make sure, because you have it marked brush, and brush tends to get cut down. I want to make sure that
Yeah, yeah.
mature trees are not going to get touched in any way, shape, or form, because they do provide a buffer to both neighbors on both
Absolutely.
sides. All right, thank you. Other board questions? Members of the public, questions on engineering? All right, seeing none.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
This time we'll call Ben Heller, our landscape architect, please.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And your full name for the record, please?
Ben Heller,
And would you spell your last name, please?
H-E-L-L-E-R.
Thank you, Mr. Heller.
Mr. Heller, can you please provide the board with your occupation, affiliation, areas of expertise, and license and experience in the field of landscape architecture?
Thing. I am a licensed landscape architect in the state of New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. I am a 2010 graduate of Rutgers University. I've been practicing landscape architecture since graduation. I've testified before various planning boards and zoning boards across the state, Washington Township, Closer, Summit, Frankfurt, Tenafly, Mendham. I'm the previous chairman of the planning board in West Orange as well.
And your license in New Jersey is current and in good standing?
It is, yes.
All right, we accept you as an expert. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Heller, you're familiar with the application, the property, and the surrounding neighborhood?
I am.
Okay. And you prepared a landscape plan in conjunction with this application?
I did.
Okay. I guess we're going to mark that as A2.
A2?
Yes.
Thank you.
So again, for the record, Mr. Eller, can you just identify what A2 is, please?
Yes. So A2 consists of the landscape plan, which was previously approved by the board, and the proposed landscape plan for today.
Yeah, so if you would just go over, because there were some concerns that were raised actually appropriately by the board at the last hearing about some underbrush landscaping that may appear to be dying, and what we're going to be doing to address that.
Absolutely. So what I've done at the top is the previously approved landscape plan. It, to the right of the chart, says 2025 status. I went through the site, took note of what was alive, what had not survived, and the count was 28 shrubs that were previously approved that had not survived, in addition to 3 shade trees that had not survived.
So what do we do about that?
So down below at the bottom of the page, you'll see the proposed landscape plan. You'll see that what we're planning on adding is a substantial amount of landscaping. As you're aware, sort of on my plan where it says block 319, it's a large lawn area. As the chairman had previously mentioned, there are substantial screenings that exist between the parking lot and this lawn area that I just mentioned. We plan to remove anything that had not survived due to, whatever the case may be. We plan on adding 12 evergreens to the north side of the property to assist with additional screening, consisting of Norway spruce planted at 7 to 8 feet tall. Will grow anywhere from 1 to 3 feet depending on conditions a year. In addition to arborvitae green giant, which will grow 2 to 4 feet depending on the conditions as well, planted at 6 to 7 feet initially. And in addition, we plan on adding 5 shade trees to the site and 38 shrubs of various style.
And I assume that by you putting these proposed plantings at the type of species as well as the proposed height at the time of planting, that you believe that this landscape plan will provide a sufficient screen for purposes of complying with the ordinance and also being true to the original approval that was granted for this project.
I do, yes. I believe majority of the plant material that we used will get larger, providing even more, whether it's shade or canopy or screening. In addition to the shrubs that we proposed along 3rd Street, they'll get anywhere from 6 to 7 feet tall, which would also provide additional screening along that side as well.
Nothing further from Mr. Heller.
The exact tree I just asked about. Existing tree to be
Yeah,
removed.
Is that being removed?
That is dead. That one is not survived. To my knowledge, that was what was marked on that. I believe is not the tree that is alive.
Like
I
I'm
know
talking
that
to my teenagers.
No.
So what is it, guys?
there is one tree that's behind the structure that had been removed. That is just branches.
Come on. No, I was just there. That is a very healthy tree. And I don't claim to be an expert like you, sir. I was just there. The tree's beautiful.
This is.
Don't cut it down.
I agree entirely. We're not cutting down anything that is alive. There is one additional thing that's off to the side.
Catherine, can we just make sure that the existing live trees are maintained and the vegetative buffer is maintained. I understand if you're going to remove some brush, and certainly there's a lot of shrubs on the property, don't cut that tree down.
We will not. Yep.
Simple, right?
The tree.
We like trees.
Full answer.
You like trees. You made your whole career on trees.
Well,
Save a tree.
sure.
All right. Thank you.
On your landscape plan, you're showing, where's the front door to the convenience store?
It's. Here, I'll show if.
Well, is it right in the middle of the plantings that you're proposing?
Based on the site plan that I'd previously seen, it was actually to the south side of that. But if it's
That's an ADA ramp. Where you're showing there. You need a sidewalk to the front door from that ADA ramp.
So we'll make sure there's a sidewalk, and I will adjust the plantings appropriately if need be. But those are foundational shrubs that are intended to be along the front of the building.
Okay, well, you're going to mostly sidewalk there.
Yes.
Okay. Next time, review the drawings a little closer with the site plan and the architectural drawings before proposing landscaping in front of the building.
Anyone else?
So the question is about whether there's a plan to water the plantings or irrigation or otherwise.
I would imagine, yeah, we would be watering these plants for sure in order for them to be able to take.
I think we're going to have the operator answer that question when he comes up.
Thank you. All right, anyone else?
I have one question.
Mrs. Amin.
You know, in front of the building that is proposed, you have 13 some berry,
Inkberry,
holly.
yeah.
How tall are those?
3 feet tall.
And are they going to obstruct any windows or anything?
They're the ones that are being proposed right now. They're planting at 3 gallons, which are only going to be about 18 inches, and they'll grow to a maximum height of 3 feet tall. That's what the foundational kind of planting is. It's an evergreen.
Okay, that's all I have.
Members of the public, questions on Mr. Heller's testimony? Board professionals?
Has anything on this landscaping plan changed to remove any of the landscaping that was on the site plan that was submitted with the application? Or has it only added new landscaping?
The previously submitted application?
The,
Previously approved application?
no, the previously submitted, the original application that was submitted.
In other words, from the time the original application was submitted, there were a few plantings that were shown. The question is, were anything removed in comparison to A2? Right, Catherine?
Right, yeah. The original submission shown at the top here?
I'm saying the number of trees, has it decreased in any way?
No.
They've just moved around based on what's had to move.
We're adding a total of 2 shade trees from what had previously been done and an additional 12 evergreen trees.
Thank you. As far as the chairman's recommendation about the tree behind the proposed convenience store building, I would make a recommendation that if the tree is alive and healthy, that it be preserved. The landscaping plan does show replacement trees in the back there. But if it is preserved, and if it is in danger of dying because its location and proximity to that building, I would ask that it be transplanted in an adjacent area that would provide buffering and screening, if possible. But we'll take a look at that condition of that tree, but would make that recommendation for the time being to make sure that it doesn't go away.
I agree.
And if that is the case, we could work with them to figure out what's the best place for that tree.
Great.
And we agree with all those comments, obviously.
Thank you. That's all I have for this witness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. So Ben, the proposed landscape plan, from a maintenance perspective, how hardy are these plants that are being proposed?
Yeah, I propose mostly or all hardy plants purposefully for this application. These plants majority of them are used in commercial spaces purposefully for that intention.
So adjacent to roadways where they might be subject to icing, if they're not being regularly maintained, your testimony is they should still survive and
Correct.
thrive in these locations?
Correct.
Okay. And then, as far as the comment that, or a question that Mr. Vecchio raised about the inkberry holly that's shown in front of the building, you'll be revising this plan to show those to be relocated
Correct.
out of the sidewalk limits? Okay, very good. Thank you.
And I just, even though you'll hear it from the operator, I just confirmed with him that an irrigation system will be installed to maintain all the plantings. Yes.
We got a question from the members of the public. Come on up. Just get you into a microphone. You need your name and address, please.
My name is Robin Guarino, Guarino. I live at 625 2nd Street, Bridgewater. I kind of have a question about, maybe I can show him.
If we could just get you in the microphone, because,
Sorry.
yeah, thank you.
I walk through the neighborhood, the days I can get myself out the door, and I go on 3rd. And the one thing in that particular area that's on the south, I guess the south side, there's always a lot of garbage, which I know is something that obviously has to be, excuse me, maintained better. Now, whatever he's putting in here, looks like there's an awful lot. And how are you going to, if you're putting all these bushes, and I'm just, how are you going to keep the grass underneath it clean if there's so much put there? Because right now, that's not how it is.
Yeah. So just so everyone's clear, the question was in regards to.
So this, Ben, just identify directionally on what portion of the site that we were talking.
Yes, this is the south side of the 3rd Street fronting portion of the site. There are 5 viburnum that are existing there today that have survived. They are doing well. The intention, based on the original landscape plan, was that area was to be mulched, and what has happened since then is that it is no longer mulched and it is lawn. The intention from us is that we would add significant shrubs to that area. We would mulch it, and in fact, on my plan, you can see 2 lines, which would indicate our mulch lines, and we would be maintaining it by running through the bushes, as landscapers do, and they remove trash and they remulch areas.
And I guess the other part of the question is, who's responsible for going out there? Because let's be real, there is always garbage there. And when I walk past it, it's the last thing I want to see. So somebody has to, on a regular basis, I would think, be responsible for going out there and checking, making sure the area is clear. Mulch or not, you're still going to end up with garbage.
And we're going to certainly, of course, do that, but we're also going to address that through the operation
Okay.
testimony, which we anticipate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. Any other members of the public? Questions for Mr. Heller? All right. We got
Okay. Oh,
one more. If we could just get your name and address, please.
Jeanette Jardine, 614 2nd Street. My question is, what is the commitment to keeping the landscape and the trees and the brush that don't survive or that are diseased, like the tree that's by the back fence? It's been my experience that all the trees that were initially planted and have died, or let's say the cover to the garbage that has flown off, has been left unattended. So what is the guarantee that once these things get put in, that they're going to stay in, they're going to stay healthy, and they're going to stay addressed, aside from being clean?
So from my end, I think we just heard the irrigation system is obviously going to be something that's going to be installed, which will help keep things alive. In addition, I believe we're going to hear testimony from the owner, who's going to talk through his commitment on maintenance and what he plans on doing.
we'll also add, we would stipulate it as a condition of approval, that whatever is on the landscaping plan, should the application be approved, that is what is being committed to by the applicant to be installed and to be maintained. And should down the road there be a dead tree, diseased, dying tree, that those would be replaced.
And they're
As
not,
a condition
they're
of
not
approval.
indicated on here. So the red lines are your additions, and if so, there are dead trees that don't have a red line, those will also be addressed.
Well, let Mr.
The red lines are what has died,
Okay.
and that's what's planning to be removed. So apologies, the red is indicating removal of something that has died, and down below is the new plantings that are being planted and proposed.
Perfect. Just to note, behind the garbage here, there is a tree that has died, and the one behind the fence has significant decay.
Yep.
So it should also be addressed.
Understood.
Thank you.
And we would certainly agree to work as a condition of approval with the board planner to assess any dead, diseased, dying landscaping or trees and address all that.
Perfect. And so, long-term, how is that going to be addressed? Let's say they're watered, about 30% of greenery does not survive. What is the commitment to get that replaced, replenished, and redone to maintain what you put in for the condition of approval?
Again, anything that is on the plan as approved is being represented by the applicant as what is going to be on the site, short-term, long-term. There's not only warranties or guarantees that you have with the landscape installer, but an additional commitment by the applicant that should any new plantings not make it, so to speak, that they would be replaced.
Perfect. And are you going to have someone on site to bring that to the owner's attention? Is there going to be a point person, a project manager, or someone who can say, listen, this is going on the site, it needs to be addressed? Or does that fall on the community?
Well, I don't know if you want to answer. It actually falls on both, right? It falls on certainly the operator, because the operator has an obligation for any application that they receive approval for, where there's conditions of approval such as this, to make sure that they're complying with their resolution requirements. That's number one. Sometimes neighbors, not just for this application, for any application, are, the best eyes and ears, and certainly on occasion will bring to an operator's attention that, hey, look, you might want to take a look at this tree, you might want to take a look at this.
And you could always come back here, because I open up the meeting early on. Anything that's not on our agenda tonight, you can come and speak about it. We're happy to hear you.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Sure.
Would you accept the fact that you've got to mow the grass every 7 to 10 days? You would accept that as a condition?
Yeah, we can accept that as a condition.
Yeah.
Thank you.
7 to 10 days?
Yes,
During
During
the appropriate season?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Heller.
Thank you, Mr. Heller. Let me call Mr. Byrne, the architect, at this point.
Bill, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And your name for the record, please? Thank you.
Mr. Byrne, could you please provide the board with your occupation, affiliation, areas, and expertise, and license and experience in the field of architecture?
Sure. I am a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey. I've been licensed since 1994. I appear before land use boards, planning boards, twice this past week throughout Morris and Somerset County, and I've been accepted as an expert in the field of architecture.
All right, we accept you as well. Thank you.
Is the microphone on?
I think it is. I just
Okay.
hold it closer.
Yeah. You have to eat the mic,
Absolutely.
as they say in the business. Mr. Byrne, you are familiar with the application materials, the project, and the surrounding neighborhood?
Yes, I am.
And you prepared the colored elevations and the floor plan for this application?
These were prepared by our office, yes.
And these are the ones that are submitted to the board, correct?
That's correct. These were
Okay.
submitted.
So please describe generally the proposed plan from an architectural perspective, specifically addressing your floor plan, elevations, colored renderings, et cetera. And just when you do so, just identify the plan sheet, title block, and the address, and the date, please.
Sure. So what's being proposed, similar footprint
Let
to
me
the...
just interrupt 1 second. What you're showing on the easel is what we have before us, is that correct?
That is correct.
No modifications?
No revisions or modifications.
Okay, so then I'm not going to mark
This
that.
is sheet number 1 of the submitted set.
Thank you.
And so what this plan shows is the 4 elevation views of the building. As mentioned by our engineer, the building footprint has changed slightly from the prior approval. The prior building was a bit of an L shape. This proposal has changed that to be a rectangular shape, so it's 25 by 50 feet. We had reviewed the prior plans and approval. We have the construction plans. And so some of what we thought to do with this design was to try to create something that we felt was a bit more consistent with the neighborhood. The building and the site exists surrounded by what appear to be residences to the back and to the sides. And so our feeling was to try to soften the very strict commercial look and try to, tone it down a bit, try to use materials that were a little bit more consistent and hopefully blend a little nicer with the neighborhood. And so what we have here on the top left is the front elevation. This faces the canopy. We've got the main entrance door. We've added a stone veneer to the lower section, and to emphasize the front door, a treatment around that door with a stone veneer. The stone veneer carries around 4 sides of the building, so again, not to dismiss the sides or the rear, we do have that stone band that comes up about 2.5 feet and extends around the 4 sides. The siding material that we're being proposed here is fiber cement. It's a hardy plank, which most people know it by. It's a quality product. We use it very often. And it would be a vertical siding in a traditional nature, board and batten type siding. Again, our office is in Chester. A lot of what we do is historic architecture, and I think it's a look that's very timeless, and I think it's appropriate for this location. The roofing material that we're proposing is a standing seam metal, again, to just try to be consistent with the overall architectural features and style of the building, and we think it complements nicely. The height of the building proposed, I think, is similar or identical to the prior approval. It's 19 foot, 11 inches to the highest point from average grade, from finished floor, that is. And the only addition to that height would be the center cupola that we've proposed, just to try to create a little, again, drama and a little balance to what's now a fairly symmetric building. Sheet number 2 of our set, again, unchanged and unrevised, so this is exactly what you guys have gotten to see. Represents the floor plan that's proposed. And again, you can see it's a fairly simple building. It's 25 foot front to back by 50 foot in width. Same essential envelope as the prior building, but the prior building just had that cutout on the one side that we've infilled here. So again, a fairly standard design. We would enter into a market area for product display. We've got some coolers to the side. We do have an ADA compliant lavatory that would be for the patrons of the store or for customers of the gasoline fueling, and we've got a cashier area and a small office to the right side. So again, a very simple design and a very standard design for this type of use. And lastly, on this design, we've got the sign light detail, which is just the gooseneck light that we would be installing over the front building mounted sign that we have above the door. And that would be located in this location in the gable. We are proposing one sign that indicates the name of the market as Pleasant Market. The sign dimension is 2.5 feet in height and 6 feet in width, roughly the width of the front entrance doors. So essentially that is what we're proposing.
And you believe, based on your experience in architecture and familiarity with the area, that the proposed design is appropriate and would blend in well with the neighborhood?
I do feel it's appropriate. I did notice that the prior approval had a building that was primarily masonry with cement plaster, stucco on the back and sides. I don't find that to be particularly consistent with the neighborhood. So our goal here was to try to create something that was, I think, a little more compatible. And I think we've done that.
Okay. I have nothing further from Mr. Byrne.
Questions?
Question. Are there any other structures planned, like an enclosure for garbage, or if there's going to be propane sold there, that would be enclosed as well?
To my knowledge, there's no other structures proposed. None that we were involved with designing, so I would think not. I mean, the canopy exists today, and I don't think there's any proposed changes to that.
I'm sorry, so the garbage is going to be just a dumpster?
I would defer that question to our site engineer.
There is a,
Vandervalk is just going to clarify.
there's a masonry enclosure that exists today. They do need to repair and replace the doors on it, but that was constructed as part of the last approval.
I have a question, not exactly for you, but the landscape architect has shown shrubs all along the front, and he shows the double door at one corner of the building, whereas your drawing shows the double door entrance is right in the middle of the building where he has the shrubs. So he has to coordinate that drawing with, with you so that the shrubs are not on the entrance door.
Yes, Mr. Min, I actually have that noted as a condition, if this is approved, that the landscape plan would have to be coordinated with the site plan.
You can't have shrubs on the entrance door.
I would agree.
Yes, there's no issue with that at all.
Coordinate that.
All right, any other board questions? Board professionals?
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Byrne, there's a couple of conditions of the original approval, one of which prohibited window signage, the other being the hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Sunday, and the third being no exterior ATM machine. Do you have any issue with those conditions?
I would have no issue with any of those conditions. I think those
Very
are
good.
very reasonable.
Thank you.
Well, I'll wait for the operator.
Hey, I'm sorry, but Bill, could you just, what was the first one you had there?
It was condition 27. The applicant shall revise the plans to indicate that there will be no window signage.
All right, no window signs. And then the testimony previously was that the operating hours were going to be from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week.
Correct, with the one caveat that, and I'm going to have the operator confirm this, that I think on the weekends it may not open until 7 a.m.
Okay, but the
But that's fewer hours than the prior
so
approval.
the prior resolution was till 10 p.m., but now we're going to go to 9 p.m.
Correct, we're going to reduce the hours.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think the building architecture certainly looks nice and would be an improvement to the site. Have you seen the existing canopy in relation to where it will be located to this building?
I have. I think I actually have a photograph that shows that. This, of course, is the prior building that was taken down.
Is this, this has not yet been presented to the board?
I believe that's correct, so this would be.
Okay, so we're going to mark this as A3. Okay. And Bill, can you first identify what is A3?
Yes, so this is a street view from, I believe it was Google Maps, that showed.
And what's the approximate date?
This I took January 9th, 2024, it's listed as. So.
2024?
Yeah, I do believe, though, this goes back in time. It doesn't say exactly when, actually, it does say July 2021. This condition existed July 2021, according to the Google Maps shot. So, obviously, it includes the original station, but the canopy, I do believe, is essentially what's there today. So, to answer your question, yes, I see the relationship of the canopy in the building.
Thank you. I actually, yeah, I was there today. It looks fairly similar to that, if not the same, from the photograph. And I just wanted to, I only highlight that because the canopy has more modern materials, more brighter colors, and I just want to make sure that from a perspective of design that these two elements aren't clashing. And I'm not to be nitpicky or overly critical. I just want to make sure that they are complementary to one another so that there's not kind of two separate elements competing on the site. Because I do think the building has been designed very nicely.
And we took that into account to some extent and agreed that the canopies, especially this type of canopy, tends to take on more of a streamlined, clean look, and the branding of the color, I mean, is what it is for the Delta. So what we tried to do is just to implement that stone detail that's on that canopy and bring that into the building, again, without many other options. That was, what we felt might really create that continuity. And I agree, I think the building is an attractive enhancement to the site.
Can you do me a favor? Can you just turn that around so the neighbors that are here can see that? It's the first time.
And Bill, if you haven't already, would you mark that as A3, physically mark it with today's date?
I'm embarrassed to say, as an architect, I don't have a pen. Which has never happened.
Lawyer to the rescue.
When's the last time that's been stated? With regard to A3, Mr. Byrne, just clarify for the record, because we see the canopy, and as was stated, it's in the condition that's in today. But there's also a building that is shown there on the property?
Yeah, so it looks to be what I would assume was the original kiosk. It looks like a Hess station. I think that's what they always looked like for so many years, at least as I recall. And it appears that that is what was there. Again, a fairly small building, probably included some restrooms and an area for the attendants.
And that's going to be removed in favor of the proposed building that you've designed?
That's correct. My understanding, it has been removed already.
I only meant to verify or clarify that the canopy is still there today per the picture. The building is no longer there. That is.
Just want to clarify that for the record. Yeah.
Right.
As far as I appreciate that all four sides of the building have the same architectural materials and design. I think that's very important for the neighboring residents. As far as the back of the building, is there any lighting or any building activity proposed in the rear?
So there is none proposed on the building itself, and we purposely didn't include, obviously, windows or other things that would shed light out the back of the building for obviously, respect of the neighbors. So the back of the building would simply be that, just the siding material, the stone material, the standing seam metal roofing.
Thank you. And then as far as the cupola, which is proposed on the roof of the building, do you know the height of that? It isn't, I don't think it's dimensioned on the plan, on the elevation.
It's not dimensioned, but the height from the highest ridge point to the top of the cupola, I would say would appear to be about 4.5 feet.
Okay.
And we would be willing to work with that as a design limit if that was important.
Okay, thank you. And that's not proposed to be lit in any way, correct?
As nice as they look when they're lit, we wouldn't mind lighting it if the board preferred, but it doesn't need to be lit.
Okay.
It does create a nice look, obviously. It's a nice ambient look, but...
I think with the residential neighbors, my personal recommendation would be that it could potentially create a nuisance because it is the highest point of the site and the building. So I'll leave it to the board, though, for their...
I think this is on you.
So my recommendation would be not to light it unless anything changes in the future. But for now, to be respectful of the residents and not create additional light, to not light it. Other than that, I have no other questions for this witness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the public, questions on Mr. Byrne's architectural testimony? All right. Seeing none. Thank you, sir.
I'm going to, before I get to the professional planner, I'm going to briefly call Mr. Bajwa, the operator.
Great.
So would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And would you give us your full name, please? And your first name, spell it, please. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eller. Mr. Bajwa, what is your relationship with the applicant?
I'm the owner.
You're the owner, okay. And I assume by you being the owner, you're familiar with the application that we have presented and you've been present during the hearings, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you also, I know, operate other gas stations with convenience markets around New Jersey, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And how many do you currently operate?
30 gas stations.
30. 30? Okay. And you've heard the testimony, for example, from Mr. Vandervalk in terms of the circulation on the site. Is that consistent with what you experience in your gas stations around the state?
Yes.
And in terms of folks going to, let's say, the convenience store, those who have pumps and convenience stores on the site, is it typical that the patrons of the convenience store are those that are also going to get gas?
That's correct, yeah.
Right? And it's rare that somebody comes in just to go to the convenience store and then leaves without getting gas, correct?
Yeah.
And with regard to the number of employees, there was a question last time as to the number of employees. Can you just verify there's going to be 2 employees
Two
on the
employees
site?
at the time, yes.
What's that?
2 employees at the time.
Okay, so there won't be more than 2 employees at a time. And one will be basically outside and one will be inside in the convenience store?
That is correct.
Okay. And you have told me from your experience with your many other operations around the state that typically when you have 2 employees at a time that they will typically carpool, and so therefore they will only take up 1 parking space at the most.
That is correct.
And with regard to the hours of operation, I had stated, represented to the board, that the hours would be 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. during the weekdays and 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. on the weekends. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And in terms of the fuel deliveries, typically takes about 20 minutes for a fuel delivery, give or take?
Yeah, approximately, yes.
Okay. And in terms of the frequency, just a few times a week?
Yes.
And typically, you don't have deliveries come in any of your stores, I know, during any peak hours, like, 7 to 9 a.m. or 4 to 6 p.m., correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay. And there will be no overnight deliveries, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And in terms of deliveries for the convenience store, those are typically in smaller box trucks?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And how often does that happen?
Usually once a week.
Once a week, okay. And do you anticipate that because right now you're not in operation at this site, correct?
That is correct.
And you don't have any employees at the site, correct? Currently?
Currently, the gas is, we are running the gas, yes. There is 1 employee working there.
Okay, but you don't have anybody,
And in the
obviously.
store, no.
Right. And so by having more than 1 employee at the site, you anticipate that you'll have a better opportunity to constantly, for lack of a better word, police the site and make sure that you're continuing to maintain the site and clean up the site?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And you heard my statement to the board earlier about the fact that if there's trees or shrubs that are dead, diseased, or dying, that you will have those replaced, correct?
That is correct. And also, I will add that the town can yearly inspect, and we can take 2-year warranty. Like if any tree die, we can replace it. They can inspect it, zoning officer or anybody from the town.
And I represented to the board that you agreed that as part of the landscaping plan that you would install an irrigation system. That is correct?
That is correct.
I have no further questions for Mr. Bajwa.
Mr. Bajwa, you weren't the owner-operator at the time of the last resolution when the last owner came in front of the zoning board. It was a different owner, correct?
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that for the board. Thank you. Other board questions? All right, board professionals, members of the public. All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. McDonough is our professional planner. Could have saved a tree or 2, John.
So, John, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Your full name for the record, please.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is John McDonough. It's spelled MC, capital D-O-N-O-U-G-H, and I'm the project planner.
All right, we just heard from you in another case. It's good to see you again, John. We accept you as a professional planner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. McDonough, you're familiar with the application, the property and surrounding neighborhood?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please describe to the board the proposed plan from a planning perspective, focusing on the variance and exception relief required in connection with this application.
Mr. Chairman, I will be very brief. This is a pretty straightforward application. I do have some visuals just to help answer some of the questions from the board about what the site looks like now. We did the usual drone shots, so you've got that. I know some of you have gone to it. But I think this will just establish a predicate for the conclusions that I've made regarding
So for the
We're
record,
going to mark this whole set A4, and John will go page by page.
All right, let's just make sure members of the public get a copy as well.
Yes. We actually have plenty. We have plenty.
Oh, you have some too?
Yes.
And what number is this one?
A4.
this is A4.
It out, it's going to be 5 pages. We're going to start with an aerial satellite photograph, and then you'll get a couple of fresh drone photographs that were actually taken in May.
May of 2025.
Correct.
Okay, so we've marked A4, like you said, consisting of 5 pages. Why don't you orient the board?
Sure thing. Again, just to highlight the salient points here from a planning standpoint, the single tax lot, block 319, lot number 8, a little more than half an acre. We've outlined it in yellow on Exhibit A number 4 on the first sheet, the satellite image. It's got sort of that L shape. I applaud the chair for bringing up the issue about the trees in the back and for our applicant responding favorably. There's a nice locust back there. There's a nice gigantic oak. I think it's good planning to keep those. And again, I compliment our applicant for keeping them in place. They're going to frame this very nice building that you just saw through Bill's testimony. Clearly, the building is going to be an upgrade over that which has historically been there. The old style Hess building with all that glass and the green band across the front being replaced with a nice building that's reflective of the rural character of your area, the Pleasant Market as it's been called on the plan. So certainly a nice visual accent over that which presently exists. Essentially, the building is being positioned as a replacement in kind for what was historically there. A slight increase over the prior approval in terms of the square footage of the building. 1,250 square feet is what's proposed. 1,097 square feet is what was originally approved here for, again, a retail use on this former Hess site. The canopy is there, the gas component is there, basically working with what is already established on the property, and an excellent complement to that which is there as a service station use. The next 4 frames simply show the condition of the property as it presently exists. As you can see, the surrounding land use context here is mixed. We've got some residential, we've got some non-residential. This is a service use along a service corridor, and we're adding a complementary service use in the form of retail that will complement the auto fueling component that's there now. What's nice about this land use in this application is the building is small in scale. It's 1,250 square feet, which is on the small end of the scale from a convenience standpoint. This is not your 5,000, 6,000 square foot Quick Check or Wawa. It's not even your 2,500 square foot 7-Eleven. This is a small, modest building that is going to be retrofit into the site itself. In terms of the justifications for the relief, again, we're looking at D2 use relief for expansion of a non-conforming use. The legal basis for the relief is actually site betterment, taking what's there, making it better, not whether the use belongs in the first place. In terms of the project positives, we see promotion of Purpose A under the land use law, the promotion of the general welfare, with a complementary use that provides customers and patrons with basic access to everyday goods. Additionally, Purpose I, which is our planning goal for promotion of a positive aesthetic. The building will speak for itself. And then lastly, Purpose M, our planning goal for efficient use of land, essentially replacement in kind for what has historically been there. We think the application has evolved through the interactive process with the board to the extent that relief can be granted without any substantially adverse impacts to the public. You've got good predicate testimony that this is designed in accordance with sound engineering design and also architectural design. And I would offer that the degree of departure from the zone plan is not substantial, considering what has been previously approved here. With respect to the C relief, your planner, Catherine, as always, has given the board a good roadmap on page 4 of her report. As you can see, most of the variances were previously granted, as indicated in bold on the table. There are a few new variances, which for the most part are improvements over the existing or previously approved condition. With respect to lot coverage, 48.8% is what's proposed, 48.9 is what exists, so that's an improvement. With respect to the front yard setback, it's a new variance where 75 feet would be required, 39.3 feet is what's proposed, but that again is an improvement over the existing condition of 35.6 feet. This all relates to the fact that the canopy was constructed at a somewhat different position relative to the approval. So there's also relief related to the front yard setback from Findern, where 10 feet is what is actually being asked for. That's what was constructed. 10.9 is what was previously approved or existing. The requirement is 52.7 feet. So again, degree of departure from the zone plan, not substantial here. All of this C relief is justifiable under the flexible C balancing test as a better zoning alternative for the property and necessary to effectuate those D proofs that I gave you as part of the D2 testimony. All said, I think it's a pretty straightforward application.
John, before you sum up, you could also, given the existing construction and structures that are on the property, some of the variances can also be based on a C1 analysis. Because
Very good point. Yes, it's relief that relates to the land and the structures lawfully existing thereon. Certainly, the board well knows you can move either under C1 or C2. We don't have to meet both, but both are actually met here.
Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
It's a very good point. We'll put both in there. That said, I believe the criteria are met for the D2 relief that the applicant is seeking, at site betterment being offered here visually and functionally, and also under the C criteria, either C1 or C2, or both.
And to the extent that there's any exception or waiver relief in connection with the site plan due mostly to existing conditions that receive that exception relief, you believe that given the existing conditions of the property, that can be justified as well under 51B of the municipal land use law?
Yes, we've got good predicate testimony there from our professionals before me. This one better? You picking me up? Sorry about that. We've got good predicate testimony from the witnesses before me that the design relief is reasonable and appropriate and can be granted in accordance with sound design principles. And certainly there's an element of impracticability here, meaning that denial of the relief, the design exceptions, in my view, would create impracticability or serve no practical planning purpose. Hopefully she got the rest of the testimony.
You were projecting pretty good. I think you were doing all right.
And so, John, based on the prior testimony before you, as well as your review of the application in terms of the positive and negative criteria for both C and D variance relief, do you believe that the application should be approved?
In short, yes. This is a good application. This is a good fit for this site. It's evolved. I know there was a hearing before this last time, and I think the issues that the board had have been cleaned up. So I think the application as it stands now warrants approval.
Thank you. Nothing further from Mr.
John, I got a question. On page 6 of Bill and Catherine's report, it questions the rear yard setback is noted as 80 feet on sheet 1 of 2, but is required to be 85 feet. Did we get a definitive answer on that?
We're waiting for the engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure there's not another variance that's required here.
So the question, I think actually you raised it appropriately at the last meeting too. We just neglected to touch upon it. So there was a question as to whether the setback for the rear yard, I believe, is at 80 feet or 85 feet.
Yeah, 80 feet, the 80-foot setback line is well short of that building corner, so we're definitely clear of the 80 feet.
Right, but so Tyler, even whether it's 80 or 85, you're showing 86.9 on your zone chart, right?
Correct. So I believe that would be the,
So we're good.
So we
Yeah.
comply there.
Right.
Right.
correct.
All right. So one less variance, potential variance. That's good. That was my only question. Anyone else? Board professionals.
Thank you. I think Mr. McDonough did a good job covering all the required proofs for all the relief that's being requested. One thing I will ask, and it may be more generally for the applicant team, is that from the photographs, you can see that masonry crash enclosure. I would ask that the applicant dress that up a little bit, maybe to match that really nice architecturally designed building, and either paint the stone to match the color of the proposed building and/or clad it with a similar material. And obviously, it needs doors, so yeah, and that was mentioned as part of the testimony. So I would recommend that the detail for the doors just be shown on the plans if they are submitted, if this is approved.
That is all acceptable.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions for Mr. McDonough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Members of the public, questions on the planning testimony you've heard? Hi there. Just need your name and address again.
Apropos to you, or?
We could just get your name and address again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Guarino, 625 Second Street, Bridgewater. My question has to do with, and I don't know if you're, okay. It just seems like everything's really tight. Like in terms of, here's parking spaces, people are going to back out, cars are right there. This looks like it's not all that much bigger than the width of a vehicle. And then we're also talking about when deliveries are made, which I'm assuming are going to be when it's, hopefully, least amount, not a busy time. But how is even a box truck coming in? It just seems like everything's really tight and compact, and it kind of leaves it open to, I mean, I'm not going to be driving in there, and going to the convenience store, but I kind of fear for people who would. Like somebody's coming around, this person doesn't see it. I mean, I know we all have backup cameras, but even so, it just seems, I don't know what the spacing is.
It's your lucky night. We happen to have a traffic engineer for our board here. Maurice, you want to chime in on anything? Hate to put you on the spot there. Good evening.
Should I show him what I'm talking about? Good idea. Was I descriptive enough?
So, if I'm not mistaken, ma'am, by the way, thank you for the question, and thank you for appearing here tonight. You're asking about the ability of a box truck to come onto the site and negotiate the site.
Well, that, and also, can I show you?
Yes. So, just to...
Hold on. No,
Okay.
no, you did nothing wrong, but because we have a court reporter, it's important that we have to
Yeah.
speak loud and clearly so that she can take down.
And some of us are deaf.
I get it, because half the time I don't hear it. I was talking about vehicles that would be passing through, and on one side, you have the people at the pump, and then you have the parking spaces over here. And it just seems like it's really tight. So like anybody coming in or even going out, it seems like it's dangerous. So I don't really know what the actual footage or yardage is.
Well, we've got a
between
pro
those
here that can
cars.
help us out.
So let me explain to you what was done on this plan and how it works. Normally, when an engineer does a simulation plan to identify the path of a vehicle, they use 19 feet as a standard design for a car. And they use 30 feet as a standard design for a box truck that delivers goods. Now, let's go to the car. 19 feet is a pretty substantial vehicle. The average vehicle is between 14 and 16 feet. 19 feet would be like a Suburban or a large vehicle. So while this plan did not identify that vehicle, but normally from practice, we know that when you go to the software and you run a vehicle, you would run the 19-foot vehicle. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind when you look at the exhibit you're looking at with all the colors. So they're using a large vehicle. Number two, it looks crowded because they're superimposing several maneuvers on top of each other. So it looks crowded. But if you pay attention to the car, for example, that is between the canopy and the two parked cars, you can estimate that there is a space between that vehicle and the line separating the two parked cars of about, I'm going to estimate, maybe 6-7 feet. So the crowdiness is because of the way the plan is drawn. They superimpose many maneuvers on top of each other. The maneuvers coming into the parking, into the two parking areas, so that's two, and the maneuver going around, so there's three maneuvers that have been superimposed on top of each other.
Okay, but
So I could, I'm almost done. So I could tell you that looking at this, yes, it is not a wide facility. I agree with you on that. But I wouldn't say it's tight. I would say it's workable.
The only reason I'm asking is, like, you're saying it's three things being shown at once, but there's a good possibility that that's going to exist several times a day. And,
No.
I mean, no?
No, let me
You
explain.
really don't think so?
So
Okay.
these three maneuvers are, yes, they will happen, but each car will have its own path. The cars will not be on top of each other as they're making this maneuver. This exhibit actually shows the cars or the maneuvers on top of each other, and that's why it looks crowded. In reality, there'll be one car going to one space, maybe 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, another car going to a different space. So it will not look the way you see it with all these lines and all the crowded looks that this plan portrays.
I mean, I guess when I look at it and I hear the size
I
of
hear you.
vehicles and box trucks and so on and so forth, and again, it's not going to be me in there, but I don't
I
want
hear
to
you.
see
Yep.
Yeah. And
those
just,
patrons have that kind of
Mr.
issue.
Simon, if it helps, we did run this past our police. They had no comment. Usually when there is a situation with an applicant where there's excessive police reports being generated, they would let us know. So there's just nothing in the report in the file, if that helps.
All right,
All right?
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now we got one more question.
Jeanette Jardine, 614 Second Street.
Yeah, that's what they were referring to before was A1.
Okay.
Jeanette Jardine, 614 Second Street. So regarding the traffic patterns that are there, I had brought up before that we were interested in getting a traffic study done, and you had mentioned something about input from the police. I think that one of the things that should be brought up is that one of the main companies that stop at this gas station is Carvana, also known as the Odessa, the car auction. And very often, it's not just a 19-foot car or 14, 16-foot SUV. We have tractor trailers that have 8, 9 vehicles on 2 different levels that barely can get in and make the turn. We have the parking spaces that are right in front of the garbage area. And very often, this is not like one car going through. This is their main spot of gas right before they get into the auto zone. That being said, I think that it's very important to get a traffic study done because we're not taking that into consideration. These tractor trailers go into the lot. They can only go into the main lane, and they're so big that no cars can pass them around to the second, third, or fourth bay. And so we're not talking about just, average cars coming in and out.
Right. You're kind of in the area of something Mr. McDonough didn't testify on. He's a planner. His testimony was on planning, so I really
Perfect.
didn't hear
So my
traffic.
one of my questions are, how do we account for that on this? This is best case scenario. But very often on Findon Avenue, being a high traffic area, being an area where there's lots of accidents, without a traffic study, how do we know what the worst case scenario and what impact it has on the public?
So again, from a planning standpoint, the departure from what was previously approved here is not substantial. We're talking about 250 square feet, if that, above and beyond. That's not a substantial change in traffic from any benchmark.
For this size location, what is the normal amount of parking spaces that usually should be sufficient for this size property?
The applicant's not asking any relief for the number of parking stalls here.
Well, my question is, if you don't have sufficient parking spaces, you have no place for these cars to park. So now you have an overflow into Findern, which causes an issue with traffic. Without a traffic study, we don't have crosswalks. We have kids in the neighborhood, they're
Ma'am,
going to want
what
to...
I think the planner is saying is that the applicant has satisfied the town ordinance with respect to parking.
But what I'm saying is, without a traffic study, there are risk variables that we haven't put forth. We have kids in the area, as you know before, we have lost a child in our neighborhood, and these are variables that we'd like to be proactive in addressing instead of reactive in addressing, because we want to keep our children safe. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Sure.
I don't think we went over this because the canopy exists, but do you know the clearance height of the canopy?
I don't. I know that they're typically 14 feet minimum, but I'll get confirmation.
I also don't have a measurement, but I will say that every application that I do with this applicant, they're either 14 feet or 15 feet clearance underneath, and that's specifically so that the delivery vehicles can circulate.
Now, is that also so that trucks can fuel at this location?
I don't believe there's any high-speed diesel here, so if they did choose to do that, again, they typically wouldn't want to because the time it takes to fuel a vehicle of that size without high-speed diesel being available. But again, there wouldn't be anything prohibiting them if it was something that they were willing to wait for.
Would the applicant be amenable to prohibiting truck fueling to address the concern of the spaces being parked by a larger vehicle?
What do you, I'm sorry, if you can just clarify when you say truck fueling.
Sorry, no tractor trailer fueling.
One second.
I'll do my best. So truck is a broad term. You may get commercial vehicles in there, but I think we're talking about a restriction on a tractor trailer, the big 55-footer. This applicant does get deliveries from, let's say, a car carrier or a smaller vehicle, the flatbeds that may carry some cars. So again, we're not looking at a prohibition on that, but from the full-size tractor trailers, yes. Is that correct?
Yeah.
There are deliveries on a flatbed?
So, Mr. Bajwa, a question was asked by the board planner regarding restricting tractor trailers to fuel. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, because of the auction there, there is small tractor with the long cars on it. Those kind of vehicles comes over there. The big tractor trailer barely comes,
How many vehicles are on those trucks? How many vehicles?
From the auctions?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't count it. I don't much there, but I know they come.
Mr. Simon, would you stipulate that your business will not allow spillover into the highway? And if that happens, we're going to have to bring you back here and talk about this.
No problem.
How do you want to word that?
So certainly we would agree to a condition that there will be no backups into Findern or any adjacent street as a condition of approval.
And I would also recommend in conjunction with that, just to be more clear, that there will be no blocking of the passenger vehicle parking spaces as well. So both of those things can't happen.
Mr. Chairman, if the board desires, there is a way to identify exactly a tractor trailer, and we can refer to them as a WB62 and a WB67. These are the large tractor trailers that have the 53-foot trailer in the back.
Yep.
And I think it's a reasonable request to prohibit these trucks because they're very large, and it would be very difficult to negotiate the site. But the trucks that the applicant referred to, I believe they can negotiate the site, and by making that specific prohibition, I think that would be a good solution for the site and for the community.
And the applicant would be amenable to Maurice's recommendation.
Great. I'm
As,
glad-
as long as there's a distinction, and I'm glad he did make the distinction between
I have it
those
as a
things.
WB62 and WB67.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And, the whole reason we spent so much time here is because, a child did die in that neighborhood, and we're very sensitive, and we want to make sure we do this right. I mean, we've really taken our time on this case, and we've been here 4 meetings now? 4. So, thank you very much, Maurice. I'm glad you were here tonight.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's it from the public. If you want to wrap up?
Unless there's any other questions or comments from the public,
The timing is good because we're
Great.
right against our.
Well, then, with the timing be short, I'll be super short.
Yep.
And all I'm going to say is that regardless of the reason why we got here, to, in essence, represent to the board, it does provide the board, the public, and actually, most importantly, the applicant, with an opportunity to actually take an approval, a recent approval, and actually make it better. So this is certainly, we believe, the quintessential example of an applicant who just a few years ago received an approval. And usually when you grant an approval, you don't usually see an applicant come back again for quite a while. They're done. Here, because of circumstances, we had the opportunity, right or wrong, to come back here, whether it's for a de minimis 155 square feet addition, essentially, to the convenience store, but it also provided us an opportunity to make the site a ton better, to make the convenience store look a ton better, to make the landscaping improvements a ton better. So we believe that through the testimony of our engineer, architect, landscape architect, operator, and professional planner, that we have satisfied our burden of proof with regard to the positive and negative criteria for all variance relief, both C and D, that is required for this application, as well as satisfied our obligation regarding preliminary and final amended site plan approval. So we ask for a favorable vote for this board, and we thank you for your consideration.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Simons. Any members of the public that would like to speak for or against this case, you can approach, you can speak into the microphone. All right, please, sir. If we could just get your name and address.
Willard Bahusin, 618 2nd Street.
Hey, would you raise your right hand, please? I am going to swear you in for your statement. Do you solemnly swear that any statements you make to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
So help you God. And can I have your name again, please?
Bahusin, Bahoshian. Now, if you're coming out of 2nd Street, I mentioned this before, not up here, but if you're coming out of 2nd Street, I don't know how they got a permit to put that fencing all the way to the sidewalk, but that last section of fencing, you can't see unless you pull out really close to Findurn Avenue to see what's coming from Manville. That section of fence should never have been there in the first place. Now, there are 2 trees, the oak trees that are in the open lot. They're both dying now. I planted them about 50 years ago. And they're dying now. You can see the branches. So what are they going to do about those 2 big trees that block everything from that gas station?
Well, right now it's time.
I came here late.
But right now, I have to follow kind of rules because this could end up in front of a judge in Somerset County. So right now is the time you can make a comment. I can't have a dialogue with you, and it's kind of...
Well, those are the only 2 things.
All right, you're on the record. Thank you very much. I wish you were here sooner. Any other members of the public like to make a comment for or against this case? Hello.
My name is Carrie Jardine. I live behind the property, 614 2nd Street.
And would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I don't want to sound repetitive, but I just wanted to read something that I was writing. Comments. There are no questions. Okay? So I came in late as well, and I just wanted to say there are rusty dented metal bars along 3rd Street perimeter. Not sure if there was a plan made for that. They're painted white, but they're all rusted and dented. They look horrible. Not sure if that was spoken about, but I'm not going to ask a question. And okay, so once again, there has continuously been garbage on this whole property. There is garbage blocking the street drainage and garbage in their empty lot, which backs into my property. The grass growth has reached the height of their privacy fence, which is backed up, once again, on my property. It has reached that high. As well, I used to walk my dogs there with my 4 children, but now there are mice in the area because of their neglect of property grounds. I believe the gas station has been owned by them since 2017 or maybe 2018. I'm not sure how long that is, but these 7 to 8 years of neglect speak for themselves. And now they want to add a new store. If approved, the area will have even more junk and garbage in our streets, which will increase the mice population within their neglected property. And once again, those beautiful oak trees that you just spoke of are dying. It's right there on my property. They're dying. So they're not beautiful anymore. They're dying. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. And, I wish I had faith in this process, but not the process, but I wish I had faith in the owner, but I actually don't. I have lived there for many years now. And so, as you can imagine, I am upset about it. And just so you know, I am upset about it because the property does nothing for itself. There is no maintenance there. 2 people working there, 1 person right now does the gas. Is that person supposed to clean your whole property? I don't know, but they cannot. Another person working in a store, how is that other 1 person supposed to clean the property? So you're telling me that 1 person's gonna come out the store, clean the whole property, then who's gonna manage the gas and the store? It doesn't make sense to me. There are a lot of blank open spaces, and that's all I have to say, and thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, we're butting up against the time, so if you could just approach, get your comments on the record.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
May I have your full name, please?
Jeanette Jardine. My name is Jeanette Jardine. Construction, I am in opposition of approving the application for many reasons. First and foremost, as the person before me said, there's no confidence in the maintenance of the property. We bear the brunt of that very often, from vermin to poison ivy that spill over, rodents, animals, garbage. One of the main things I oppose to is that this property doesn't have enough square footage to safely support the proposed expansion. Like I said before, large trucks regularly enter the lot, causing traffic to back up into the fender. This creates unsafe conditions for both vehicles and pedestrians. There are no sidewalks. We have many children in the area. There are no traffic lights getting across Findern Avenue. And if you're trying to get across Findern, it's like playing a game of Frogger. We don't want to put our kids in that position. It's amazing that there has not been a demand for a traffic study. It has not been done. It's essential to the understanding on how this development will impact the nearby roads and intersections, the traffic circulation, the site access, trip generation, so this could be reasonably managed. Moving forward without this analysis is reckless. Danger is not hypothetical. Our community has already suffered tragic incidents. We've seen a tractor trailer crash in a 2-story home, trapping a woman and damaging several cars in the area. We've seen 2 people in a collision right on Findern, where 2 people had to be extracted from the vehicle. And again, we saw one of our own neighbors killed right on the corner, around the corner from our block. This site was never meant to be a food mart. It previously sold soda and basic auto products like oil, windshield wiper fluid, and it had one singular refrigerator of cans of soda. No item that required people to leave their cars. Turning this into a full convenience store will not only increase foot traffic, that would include deliveries, garbage, and noise, all on a site that simply can't handle it. I was surprised to hear that the applicant had 30 other stores, considering we had a stop work order because the construction had to be stopped due to the fact that there were no plans or no approvals. So we sat for almost 2 years behind a dump of debris and garbage floating around. The claim that 1 or 2 employees will manage everything, food, maintenance, safety, and service, this is definitely not realistic or responsible. Any of these variances shouldn't be issued just to squeeze an oversized project into an undersized lot. We cannot put profit over people. Our children's safety must come first. I respectfully urge the board to deny this application until a full traffic study is completed and all compliance and safety concerns are addressed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Rich, why don't you take us through the stipulations, and we'll open up deliberations.
We had some discussion on several conditions. First, any conditions from the prior resolution would remain applicable unless they are specifically altered by any approval from this board. The applicant would provide, and some of these may have been addressed already, but the applicant will provide a supplemental landscape plan to the township planner's satisfaction and maintain the landscape buffer. Applicant has agreed to replace any plantings which may become diseased or die. No construction permit shall issue until the applicant has removed the trash and debris on site to the township engineer's satisfaction. Hours of operation will be 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekends. Applicant will remove any non-approved signs. There'll be no window signs. All installed roof leaders will be connected to the inlet on 3rd Street, and you'll confirm that they are sized appropriately for the additional runoff. All proposed lighting will be downshielded to eliminate light spillage on 3rd Street, Findren Avenue, and adjoining properties. Bill, I need a little help with this one. So we talked about the spill containment tank. Well, is that, and Rob, is that going to still remain? Is there going to be one on site? Not at all on site? Okay, so there'll be no spill containment tank on site? Okay. None of the mature trees will be removed from the site. If necessary, in accordance with the township planner's direction, trees may need to be transplanted if it appears that the site, the building location would inhibit their growth. We'll have to modify the landscape plan to be consistent with the site plan. That's where, remember, the front door was not shown in the same location. You will include an irrigation system to service the landscape plan. Again, we'll perpetually maintain the approved landscape plan. The lawn areas will be mowed at least every 7 to 10 days during the growing season. Again, there'll be no window signs. There'll be no ATM machine on the exterior of the building or on the site. Could be inside the building, but not outside. The cupola should not be lit. With respect to the trash enclosure, you'll repair the doors, provide a door detail in your plans, and paint the enclosure to match the building. No tractor trailers known as WB62 and WB67 will be permitted to fuel at the site. There'll be no blocking of passenger parking spaces. And that was all I had.
Thank you, Rich.
Okay.
Jim?
I was on the board many years ago when we heard the first time, and like, again, we're back here listening to the same property again to put a convenience store there. One of the things I agree with in the testimony is that, actually, I have a friend of mine who owns several gas stations that are small and has little stores. And I would say, and it was testified here, that the majority of the people that go into it are customers who are getting gas. I would say he gets a few here or there, and they'll come and get ice, get cigarettes or something like that, or water during the summer. So he really doesn't generate a lot of extra traffic, and I don't believe this would here either. That's what we were talking about before. My biggest concern is that the owner has not kept the property maintained. I think that with all these restrictions that we're putting in conditions into the, tonight, he sort of has to do that, and I hope he does. Whether the rest of the board goes forward or not, you have to maintain it to make, it was embarrassing when I drove past it the first time. And looks a bit better now, and I hope that if it gets approved, that you maintain it and make it look like a professional place to want to come in and get gas and or buy something. So I'm right now in favor of the application.
All right, thank you. Mr. Vessia, your thoughts?
Sure. We've heard testimony on this case. We've raised a number of concerns with the parking, the relatively tight site, the condition of the property. I think through our questioning, even public questioning, I've satisfied my concerns with this site. I've thought if we did not approve this application, what would that do for the site? You know, would we have an improved site? How would that appear to the neighborhood if it was not approved? So I'm in favor of approving this application because I do agree with the planner that it is a site betterment. I would welcome if they do repair and replace the existing guardrail that I know one of the residents has mentioned. I would welcome that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sweeney?
This application isn't significantly different from what's been on this site in the past and what's been approved in the past. I think the current proposal represents a significant improvement given the new building that's proposed. And I think that the conditions we've talked about in terms of maintaining the new landscaping, replacing any of the new landscaping that doesn't survive, I think those conditions and the others that we've mentioned are sufficient to protect the neighbors from the problems that could otherwise pop up. But I think if that's not the case, if the owner screws up and doesn't maintain his property, come back, tell us, let us know. All right, don't sit and stew over it, but please come back. But given all of that, I think this represents a significant improvement over what's there now, and I will vote to approve.
Thank you. Mrs. Amin?
We had approved the gas station in 2017, and there is not too much of change from what was there at that time. At that time, they had also included a building in there, and other than a few more trees or whatever else, there's not too much change. So I'm in favor of approving this application.
Thank you. Bruce, welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. When I first went to visit this site, right before it's the first time the application was presented, the place was a disaster. I think that when I drove by today, I think it's significantly improved. And I think that the conditions that Rich went through that will ensure that the site is maintained, and as Mr. Sweeney has said, if you got an issue with something, come back to the board and we'll address it. So having said that, I'm in favor of the application.
Seekat.
My personal feeling is that this site is too small for this type of store. There's not enough parking. And Mr. Vesio brought up the handicap spot with a fairly large vehicle or handicap van. I drive a large vehicle. I don't think there's enough space to get a large vehicle in and out of that handicap spot. I hear what everybody's saying with, without approval here, there was maybe no oversight. And I get that, but I don't feel I could support the application.
All right, thank you. I was tough on this applicant, and I'll continue to be tough. If you come back and tell us there's a problem in this neighborhood, we're very sympathetic to that. Voting no and shutting this property down, it's going to make things worse. Mr. Byrne has designed a very, very nice building here. I think it's going to be a massive improvement over the last resolution that was passed by this board, and they're really not asking for much. They made a mistake. They ripped down the wrong wall. We delayed the hearing twice because I was so upset at the condition of the property, and fellow board members agreed that we do that. To demand a traffic study, which ordinarily I think we would do, but there's no traffic component of this case. So, I don't know what legal bearing I would have other than if this went to court on a denial, we would instantly lose. So I want to help your neighborhood. I want to do everything in my power to make it better. We have irrigation. We have new landscaping. And we have the power of the microphone. You get back here and you tell us if it's dirty, if they're not maintaining the property. I want to hear from you. This whole board wants to hear from you. I'll give you as much time as you need before the meeting starts at 7:02. You come here, you let us know. But I'm going to vote in favor only because I haven't seen anything here that's different than the last approval. And like I said, I think Mr. Byrne, I hope he does more work in Bridgewater. Thank you, sir. I think that's a beautiful building you designed. It's not going to look like a typical convenience store. And I want to thank you for doing a great job. So with that, I'm going to seek motions. There was a motion to approve.
With all the conditions, pages.
Okay. Do I have a second? That was Mr. Bongiorno. These are motions to approve. We'll put that to a vote.
Mr. Weidelli?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mrs. Amin?
Yes.
Mr. Bongiorno?
Yes.
Mr. Seacat?
No.
Mr. Vesio?
Yes.
And Chairman Foose?
Yes. All right, Mr. Simon, congratulations. We hope we don't ever see you again. No offense. On this matter. I hope we see you in other matters. Good night. All right, we're going to take a very quick break, 5 minutes. The time is 8:47, so let's call it 8:50. Let's try and get back, and we'll get started on Cafe Amelia.
I will need the
Chairman Foose,
I'm here.
Mr. Wydell,
Here.
Mr. Sweeney,
Here.
Mrs. Amin,
Yeah.
Mr. Bongiorno,
Here.
Mr. Seacat,
Here.
Mr. Vesio,
Here.
Mr. Aller,
Here.
Mr. Burr,
Here.
Ms. Sermad, and Mr. Rashad.
Here.
All right, we're all here. Good evening, Cafe Amelia.
Thank you. Good evening. For the record, I'm Donna Jennings from the law firm of Lentz, Goldman, and Spitzer on behalf of the applicant. As the board is aware, the applicant is here this evening seeking preliminary and final major site plan approval, a D1 use variance, a D4 floor area ratio variance, several bulk variances and design waivers to construct a new two-story addition to the existing Cafe Amelia restaurant to add a banquet hall, courtyard, and rooftop bar area on property located at 705 Route 202 and 49 Charlotte Drive, identified as Block 163.02, Lots 17 and 9. The new building will comprise of approximately 16,749 square feet. Lot 17 is developed with the existing Cafe Amelia restaurant, and Lot 9 is developed with a vacant church. The lots will be consolidated and comprise approximately 38,952 square feet. Both lots are located in the R20 zone, where restaurants, bars, and banquet halls are not permitted uses. Therefore, the applicant is seeking a D1 use variance to add the proposed use on Lot 9. The record will show that the applicant is entitled to use variance relief because they satisfy both the positive and the negative criteria under the municipal land use law. The positive criteria is satisfied where the proposed site is particularly suitable for the proposed use. Here, the proposed site is located along Route 202, and it already has a restaurant on the site. We have a commercial corridor, and therefore we believe it is an appropriate location for the expansion.
All right, Ms. Jennings, if I can interrupt you, I apologize. We got a check notice, and we got a couple house cleaning things we got to take care of first.
Sure.
Rich, where do we stand on notice?
Yep, so I did review the notice, and it's in proper form. It was sent by certified mail on time and published timely, so the board does have jurisdiction.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So the applicant is entitled to just go by the list. If you're not on the list, in other words, it's not the applicant's fault. They go by the list that they get from the municipality. And they, as long as they follow that list, which they did, then that's all they have to do. They have to mail it. And as strange as this is going to sound, there's no requirement that you get it, just that they mail it. Okay? Right, you may not have, but they've mailed it and they presented proof of mailing. Okay. If you're not on the list, then they don't have to send you a notice. You're probably more than 200 feet. So, yeah. Okay, but fortunately, you're here, and now you're aware, okay? But again, they have to go by the list that they receive, and that's what they did. Okay?
Okay. Now, the second notice, I went there tonight. I went there at 6:15. On the church lot, so that's lot 9, the garbage is overflowing. The garbage stinks. Okay, so I guess my first question, and I'm being consistent because the last applicant had a myriad of problems. I didn't hear their case until they satisfied those requirements. Why is garbage on the vacant church lot? Why is that garbage spilling over? And it smelled bad. Now, I will say, to offset my comments, I've eaten at this restaurant. It is wonderful. I had a great meal, had a delightful time. That parking lot stinks, and it's not fair to the neighborhood. And you have to do something. We have to address it. I'm not going to hear this case tonight until you talk about how we're going to remedy the current situation.
Sure, not a problem. I don't think that that's typical, but I know that the applicant is well aware that the garbage has to take out. They have a private hauler. They'll just increase the number of...
Why is the garbage on the vacant lot?
I don't know why the garbage is on the vacant lot.
Why isn't that on lot 17?
Well, if it's on lot 17, you know where the dividing line was?
No.
I mean, I
It's
believe
in the
it's
church.
on.
It's in the church parking lot. They had an event tonight. It was overflowed. There was a gentleman outside that was directing traffic down Chambers up onto the church parking lot, so down and around. I'm sorry, Charlotte Drive. When I pulled into that lot, I couldn't pull into the parking spot because there was 2 trash bins overflowing. It smelled terrible. So I guess the first question is, why aren't those dumpsters on lot 17? And how are we going to remedy this situation?
Well, one of the we're here, right, to modify the site plan.
But
Will be
you
taken.
just said it was a vacant lot, and you have garbage on the vacant lot.
I didn't say it was vacant. The church is there. It's a vacant church lot.
Okay.
The church building is there.
Does your
parking is
applicant
there.
own this property?
He does. He owns both the lots.
Okay. So what are we going to do to make the trash enclosure compliant with Bridgewater health standards?
They'll make sure that somebody is brought there tomorrow and have it cleaned up, and we'll make sure that the dumpsters stay on the lot until we get approval.
Okay. So the dumpsters are going to be moved to lot 17?
If you're telling me they're not on lot 17, then yes.
Would you like to see a picture?
You can show us a picture, sure.
Okay, great. There's the fence. There's your garbage.
Well, I wouldn't know if it was on lot 17 or 9 myself, personally.
Well, it sounds like maybe you should take a drive over there.
Well, how do I know which lot that's on? That's just a picture of the dumpster.
Well, the gentleman that was directing the traffic said it was on the church lot.
Well, again, I don't think that shows anything but a dumpster.
Okay, well, let's
show you which lot it's in.
Okay, let's go to the next. So you're going to remedy the situation,
Correct.
and how are you going to do that?
I just said we'll make sure that someone's there tomorrow to get the garbage picked up. And if it's on lot 9, which I don't know from that picture that it is on lot 9, we'll have to make sure that it's put on lot 17. But he does own both the properties.
Okay. Does he have permission to keep trash on lot 9?
Sure, the church property had a dumpster.
Okay.
So they had a dumpster.
But there's no dumpsters on lot 17, is my point.
Well, that's what you're saying, but I can't affirm that because you just showed me a picture of a dumpster. You didn't show me where on the lot it was located.
Is your applicant operator here tonight?
The applicant's here, sure.
Why don't you ask him where his dumpsters are?
Joe? You have to come in and get sworn in. You'd have to get sworn in.
And you got to speak into a microphone.
Oh, stay here. You can speak right there.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And your name for the record, please?
Joseph Natali. I'm speaking on behalf of my daughter, Nicolette Natali. That's the actual owner of the property. But I'm qualified to speak on her behalf.
So the question is, do you know where the dumpsters are located?
I'm sure it's exactly where the chairman said it was. Took a picture physically on which property. I'd have to go by and look. I'm happy to have it moved. I also instructed our manager to have the garbage picked up 3 times a week so it doesn't have an opportunity this time of year to smell or be overflowed.
Perfect, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
All right, so we have good notice. We have the trash situation taken care of. Please continue.
Sure, thank you. So the second part of the analysis deals with the negative criteria, and that's where the applicant must demonstrate that the variance can be granted without causing substantial detriment to the public good and without substantially impairing the intent and purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinance. The uses omission from the zoning ordinance must also be reconciled. The record will reflect that the applicant satisfies the negative criteria because the site will be able to operate safely without substantial impact to the surrounding properties. Also, other assembly uses, including country clubs, are permitted in the R20 zone, and the master plan recommends commercial development along highway frontages. The applicant also requires a D4 floor area ratio variance as the proposed ratio exceeds the maximum permitted. And pursuant to a case entitled Randolph Town Center, the positive criteria requires the applicant to show special reasons to grant the variance by demonstrating that the site will accommodate any problems related to a floor area larger than the ordinance permits. The site accommodates the proposed floor area because the development satisfies the parking demand and provides safe circulation patterns even given the additional floor area. Second, the negative criteria requires a traditional two-pronged test, which the applicant satisfies for the reasons previously delineated. There are several bulk variances and design waivers that the board planner will talk about more specifically. We are going to rely on the testimony of the following four witnesses. Tom Donahue, who is sitting to my right, is our site engineer. Craig Calishan is the architect. Jay Troutman is the traffic engineer. And Andrew Janu is our professional planner. As a matter of record keeping, the applicant acknowledges it is in receipt of the following reports. The board planner report dated July 14th, 2025. The board engineer report dated July 18th, 2025. The health officer report dated July 14th, 2025. The fire official report dated July 11, 2025, traffic safety report dated May 28, 2025, sewer utility dated June 13, 2025, the tax assessors dated May 21, 2025, and a memo from the zoning office undated. Each of those reports have been reviewed by the professional team, and we will be addressing all the comments raised by your board professionals, and obviously any other questions or issues that are raised both by the board, your professionals, and the public, hopefully as best as we can. So with that, I'd like to start with our first witness, which is Mr. Donahue.
Mr. Donahue, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Your full name for the record, please. Thank you, Mr. Donahue.
And if you could, for the benefit of the board, give your background and qualifications.
I have a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering from the New Jersey Institute of Technology. I'm a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and Florida. I have over 35 years of experience in practicing civil engineering, and I have prepared these site plans. I have testified before over 100 planning and zoning boards throughout New Jersey.
And your license is valid today?
Yes, it is.
Did the board accept his qualifications?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you could, Mr. Donahue, for the record, just confirm that your office prepared the site plan?
Yes, it did.
And if you could describe the existing site conditions, and if you're going to rely on an exhibit, if you could please mark that into evidence. Identify it first.
Yes. I will be discussing the site plans which were submitted, consisting of 8 sheets dated last revised April 3rd, 2025. And I also have an exhibit, a few exhibits.
Do you need to have the site plan set marked or no? Just
No, we don't have
exhibits?
to, I'm not going to mark the site plan that you submitted as long as you haven't rendered it, but I don't think we have what you're about to talk
Yes,
about, yet, right?
This is
Why don't we mark that A1, and then you can just identify what that is for the record, please, and put today's date on it as well.
This is a Google map aerial photo dated, what they provide is 2025. It indicates the existing properties surrounding U.S. Highway Route 202 and the surrounding streets. And I'll describe what this exhibit consists of. Two properties, block 163.02, lot 17, which is known as 705 U.S. Highway 202. It's developed with an existing two-story, approximately 3,675 square feet, the Cafe Amelia restaurant. Block 163.02, lot 9, known as 49 Charlotte Drive, is developed as an existing one-story, approximately 1,418 square foot church, which is to be removed. Lot 17 is approximately 0.352 acres, and lot 9 is approximately 0.543, both combined with total 0.895 acres. The property has 3 frontages, one on US Highway 202, and the other 2 on Charlotte Drive West and Charlotte Drive East. The property is located in the R20 zone, and the surrounding uses include residential and commercial uses. As previously mentioned, the applicant is seeking preliminary and final site plan approval a D1 use variance, a D4 use variance, bulk variances to construct the addition to Cafe Amelia, both on lots 17 and 9, and which will include a banquet hall, courtyard, ground level bar, rooftop bar, and related site improvements. The building will be comprised of 16,773 square feet with a maximum height of 20 feet. The existing restaurant building is 25 feet in height, and the architect will later describe those in detail. The existing restaurant has a total of 144 seats. Currently, there's 72 seats inside, 24 in a private dining room, 42 in the main dining room, and 6 bar seats. Additionally, there are 72 outdoor seats, which, if you could see my cursor on the screen, right below the covered patio area, there are 72 seats in that location. The church has an occupancy of approximately 40 people, and the architect will also describe those in detail. So total seating combined for both uses is 184. And the applicant is proposing a total of 180 seats spread across the restaurant, bar, banquet hall, and rooftop bar. The banquet hall would have 100 seats, the restaurant would have 50 seats, and the bar area would include 30 seats. The D1 use variance is required because restaurants, bars, banquet halls are not permitted in the R20 zone, and the use is now proposed on Lot 9, currently existing on Lot 17. The D4 FAR variance, the maximum permitted FAR is 0.16, and where currently 0.3 exists on Lot 17, 0.3 exists for both lots, and the applicant's proposing 0.43. Bulk variances required for this property would include a maximum improved coverage. 25% is maximum, where 94.48 exists on Lot 14.
17.
Excuse me, Lot 17, the current restaurant property, and 41% exists on Lot 9, the church property. A total of 89.9% is proposed for the proposed project. Going to switch to another site plan, and this is the existing conditions plan.
That's part of the site plan set?
Yes, it is.
You just identify what sheet you're looking at?
Sheet 2 of 8. This indicates the existing survey of the properties. So I will talk about the front yard setback from Highway 202. There's a requirement for a 200-foot building setback requirement from 202. Currently on Lot 17, the existing restaurant, there is a 33.99-foot setback, and on Lot 17, the church has a setback of 35.22. Proposed for the application, the front yard setback would be 28.9 feet. The minimum front yard setback on Charlotte Drive East, which is to the existing building right now, is 27.39. There is a variance for the expansion, and what I will do is I will switch to the site plan at this point.
Is that part of the site plan set?
Yes, it is. This is sheet 3.
Sheet 3, okay.
So along Charlotte Drive East, there is an extension of the existing restaurant, which is approximately 10 feet in width, and that would also extend the front yard variance requirement for this application, just for that 10-foot location. Existing days and hours of operation, Monday through Friday for the restaurant is noon to 10 p.m. Saturday is 3:30 to 11 p.m. and Sunday is 3:30 to 9 p.m. Current peak.
Sorry, could you just repeat those times again?
These are the current hours of operation. So Monday through Friday, noon to 10 p.m. Saturday, 3:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. And Sunday, 3:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. And the current peak hours are Monday through Saturday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The applicant is proposing days and hours of operation for the restaurant and banquet hall, Monday through Saturday, noon to 11 p.m., and Sunday, noon to 10 p.m. The rooftop bar, days and hours is Monday through Wednesday, noon to 11 p.m., Thursday through Saturday, noon to 12 a.m., and Sunday, noon to 10 p.m. If there are any tastings or tours at the facility, that will be conducted by appointment during regular business hours before 5:30. Currently, the existing restaurant has 11 employees, and the proposed facility will have 20 employees.
Is that 20 additional or 20 total?
20 total.
Is there going to be live music in the bar?
I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
We'll get you an answer for that.
Thank you.
How did you get to 94% impervious coverage? How does this even happen in Bridgewater?
Well, the existing is 94.48 on lot 17.
Okay, how did you get to 94.68% impervious coverage? How did you get a CO?
I don't know. They've been operating for 26 years, so I don't know.
Okay. So who approved it? So they must have been in front of a land use board at some point.
They must have.
So can you show us that, please?
Not right now, I can't, but we'll do an open request with your records. You would be the keepers of the records, so we'll see if you guys have the original resolutions.
And you haven't done that yet?
We may have done an open request, but I don't have it with me now. I don't bring the entire file with me.
Dog ate your homework?
No, I don't bring old resolutions with me normally to a board hearing.
So how did you get to 94.68%?
That's the way it is. I can't give you the past history. I wasn't here 26 years ago, but we'll find the answer out for you. You would probably know better than I. You guys sit on the board and...
I haven't been a board member for 26 years. So in the last 26 years, this board certainly has not granted a pretty wild impervious coverage ratio like that.
Okay, but it's been there, and that's just a fact that we're presenting. That's an existing site condition.
So it's your answer that you don't have an answer, how you got to 94?
I don't have an answer what happened 26 years ago, no.
Yeah, but it's a fair question as to, are you there
Right, and I said
legally
I'll
now,
check your
or did it...
It's a very combative answer because, I mean, the theme tonight, and you sat in the audience, was about being good neighbors. And we're trying to figure out a way to be good neighbors. And to be combative certainly is not a good way to be with the zoning board. So,
I feel like you're actually the one being combative.
yeah, I mean,
I'm just
that's very
answering the
possible.
question.
But you don't have an answer.
No, but I said I would get you one. So I think that's a fair response.
So to find the history and to know where we're at, to make a judgment on a piece of property, you have to have all the relevant facts. And to come in here and not have a history on the property is pretty incredible. And then you tell me I don't know where the dumpster is, and your own exhibit showed exactly where the dumpster was that I showed tonight, because you don't have a dumpster on the exhibit that's on the TV right there on lot 17, but you do have two dumpsters that I saw tonight overflowing on Lot 9. So, yes, I'm quite combative because you're not answering in an honest manner, in my opinion. You have on a screen.
I take offense to that. I've answered your questions.
Please take all the offense you want.
Yeah,
But
and I will.
this board is entitled.
I don't know why you're being
This
so combative. We're trying
this
to
board
present
is
that.
entitled to a history on the property.
Right, and you are the keepers of the history, so.
I'm not the
I will
keeper of the
I will get an
history.
answer for you the next time we're here. I'll
Okay.
give you the complete history lesson.
Is it normal that Bridgewater properties have 94.68%?
I don't know anything about all the properties in Bridgewater. I don't normally do an analysis of every site in a town when I come to a hearing.
And I'm the one combative.
I'm just answering your question honestly.
Thank you.
Can I ask some questions? So you gave us some data points with existing seating. You're throwing out some numbers. You're saying in total the existing seating is 184. Did I hear that correctly?
That's correct. Yeah, with both uses.
With the exterior use of 72 seats.
72 seats within the restaurant itself, 72 seats outside under that covered patio area. And then the church has an occupancy of approximately 40 people. So total would have those three numbers added together, 184.
Is it your intent that I take those existing numbers when weighing your proposed number of seats in your restaurant? Like, is that a data point that you're presenting to us to consider?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure in terms of a restaurant. It's not a very large building. I mean, are you allowed unlimited number of seats on the exterior of a restaurant?
I don't have an answer for that.
Right, because we're getting that data in terms of here's what's existing and here's what's proposed, and look, we're reducing 4 seats. So I need to understand how to use that data you're presenting in granting, approval of this application. So are you permitted, I mean, how do you, I'm just not sure how to handle the 72 seats that are currently outside that you're stating.
Were those 72 seats created during COVID?
Correct.
And COVID's over, right?
True.
So what happens? What's the town's policy on COVID seating?
They've allowed it to continue.
Who exactly is allowed it to continue?
The town.
Okay. Catherine, maybe you can help us out there with that. So the 72 seats of COVID, what's the current Bridgewater policy on those?
In my time here, I don't think it's come up. I will check with the zoning officer to see how we've treated temporary structures, particularly tents. I believe what's out in the parking lot.
Is that what this is now, temporary structure?
Yeah, I believe they are tents, like temporary tents. They look nice, but I think they're still temporary.
Okay.
So I will check with him to see how we have handled that from a violation perspective, and if any approvals were granted or anything informally was done before the planning board or something during COVID to provide some relief. I'll look into that.
Thank you.
I have a question. If we were to treat Lot 9 and Lot 17 as one full lot, with the current building as it stands right now, what would the FAR be without the new addition, just as with the current building as it stands, looking at it at a combined lot, Lot 9 and 17?
Taking the Lot 17 principal building that's indicated on the site plan, which is 1,851 square feet, dividing that by the total proposed area of 38,952, we have a FAR of 0.048.
0.048, okay. And if that was in compliance across the board, what would that number be, the total? What would you be able to go up to? if it was treated as one, you're going for, so 0.048 to, what would it be?
What we're asking for right now is 0.43.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, continuing on, excuse me, continuing on. As shown on the aerial Exhibit A1, on Lot 17, there are approximately 25 parking spaces, and on Lot 9, there are approximately 13 parking spaces in the lot. And the proposed number compliant with the ordinance is 46 parking spaces required. With the EV credit, we are proposing 50 parking spaces, and that's calculated on 0.7 spaces per 2.5 seats with 180 seats that are provided. We are going to designate the 8 parking spaces that are along Charlotte Drive East as employee parking. Circulation at the proposed site would be entering from either Charlotte Drive East or West, since there's a two-way driveway area, 24-foot wide, circulating the property in a clockwise manner. If you see my cursor on the screen, you'll see we'll come to a one-direction traffic lane with angled parking, and then parallel parking along the front, up to 3 ADA parking spaces near the front entrance. Again, there's parallel parking on Charlotte Drive East and parallel parking along the rear property line of 25 parking spaces. During events at the facility, the applicant will provide valet parking for pickup and drop-off behind the building. That'll take place in the rear, so anyone coming to the location would drop off their car and walk down the sidewalk to the front entrance, or around through the front sidewalk to the front entrance of the facility. Additionally, pickup and exiting the site would take place in the rear of the property, and the person attending the event would have a direct exit to Charlotte Drive West and then to 202, exiting the site. Parking setback requirements for properties along 202, there's a 100-foot setback. Currently on the lot 17, there is a 3.7-foot setback and a 70-foot setback on lot 9, the church property. The applicant is proposing a 10-foot setback to the northwestern corner parking space on the one-way aisle direction. There's also a minimum rear yard parking setback requirement of 10 feet. Currently on lot 17, 3.7 exists, and on lot 9, 15-foot setback exists. The applicant is proposing an 8-foot setback along the rear property line to the proposed parking spaces. A design waiver is requested for the size of the parking space, where 9.5 times 15 is required, and the applicant is proposing a 9 by 18-foot parking space size.
Are you sure this parking space size is not 9.5 by 18? 9.5 by 15 sounds too small.
I said 15?
You did.
I'm sorry. It would be 9.5 by 18. My apologies.
No worries.
The applicant is also proposing to close off the driveway entrance that currently exists from Route 202 entering the facility of the restaurant on Lot 17. That will be closed off, and the existing depressed curb along Charlotte Drive East would remain, and that would provide access. Additionally, the driveway access to the church, which is on Charlotte Drive West, would be slightly expanded to provide the two-way movement pattern going out and in at that location. As I mentioned, there are 3 ADA parking spaces which are proposed near the front entrance to the restaurant, clockwise circulation around the parking lot. Deliveries to the facility would be by box truck and vans only, and those deliveries would be 1 to 2 times per day and would last no more than 15 minutes. And those deliveries would be to the proposed loading area, which is in the rear of the building. A design waiver is requested for the loading space size of 11 by 24 is what's proposed, where 12 by 50 is required. Additionally, a design waiver for the number of loading spaces is required, where 2 are required for this facility and 1 is being proposed. Garbage pickup would be to the refuse collection area, which is in the center of the drive aisle along the rear property line. That would take place a few times a week before business hours are open. The enclosure would be modified to what's shown on the site plans so that the exterior of the enclosure will match the building facade. Snow removal for the property will be handled by a private hauler, a private company. And snow will be removed, will be more than 3 inches from the facility, will be plowed, shoveled, and salted, and there will be no stockpiling of snow on the facility. There is an existing sign along the frontage where the cafe is. That sign will be relocated, and this is an exhibit which I will mark.
Should be A2.
And just put today's date on that as well, and then just describe what A2 is for the record, please.
This is a revised site plan which indicates the relocation of the existing sign to the northwest corner landscaped area. It indicates that on this site plan with a US Highway 202 and a 16.2 setback to Charlotte Drive West. There is a requirement for the setback to be 20 feet from the highway, so a design waiver is required for that.
I'm sorry, 20 feet, and what are you proposing?
4.
4?
4.
What's the existing setback?
The existing setback is 6. For the sign area of the existing sign, the requirement is 5% of the maximum building facade, front building facade. So the building facade is approximately 3,464 square feet. So that equates to 173 square feet for maximum sign area. The existing sign is 4 feet by 7.5 feet in size, so that's 30 square feet. So the existing sign complies with the new building facade. I will also talk now about another exhibit.
Okay, that'll be A3. And again, I guess put today's date on there?
Yes, today's date, and again, just describe what A3 is, please.
A3 is a colored rendering of the landscape plan. It indicates areas that will be lawn, landscaped, and also it indicates pavement in a different color, the building itself, proposed addition, and a colored area for the existing building and another area for the courtyard that's being proposed. So the applicant is proposing 5 shade trees. 4 of those trees will be along Charlotte Drive West, as indicated on the plan, 40 feet as a separation, and 1 tree on Charlotte Drive East in the location of the exit driveway area. There will also be 35 6 to 7 foot height arborvitae trees, which will be proposed along the rear property line. And also there is a 6 foot high white PVC fence, which will be installed on the rear property line. There'll be some smaller shrubs and ground cover, which will be added to the landscaped islands that are throughout the parking lot area. The requirement is 5% of the parking lot is to be landscaped, which is approximately 1,036 square feet. The applicant's proposing 3,437 square feet, which equates to 8.8% and meets the requirement. Next, I will switch to the lighting plan. Lighting plan is sheet number 5 of 8. The applicant's proposing 9 LED lights that will be attached to the building walls. Those will range in 15 to 18 foot in height. The wall-mounted fixtures will point the lighting directly to the pavement below. And as indicated on the analysis, the lighting plan conforms with the ordinance requirements. The lights will be turned off at the close of business with the exception of security lighting, which will be on site, and this will be also set by timer. Lighting design indicates a 0-foot candle along the rear property line where the arborvitae trees and 6-foot high PV fence will be attached and installed. Next, I will talk about the grading and drainage plan, which is proposed.
What sheet are we looking at now?
This is sheet 4 of 8. So currently, both lots 9 and 17, slope in a west to east direction. So from Charlotte Drive West to Charlotte Drive East, all current roof runoff, pavement areas, lawn areas, sheet flow to Charlotte Drive East, and then discharge into an existing street drainage system that's in Charlotte Drive East. There's no on-site storm drainage structures on both properties at this point. And the applicant is proposing to install a new stormwater collection drainage system on site, which will collect runoff from the pavement areas. It'll go into a new drainage system and then into an underground detention basin, which will collect water from the roof along with the pavement areas. The detention basin is sized to reduce the pre-development 2, 10, and 100-year peak stormwater runoffs by 50, 75, and 80% respectively, which complies with the requirements. The detention basin will discharge through an outlet structure and be connected to the existing drainage system in Charlotte Drive East. The applicant at this point is not proposing any new water or sanitary sewer service. The existing services are adequate for the new use. An additional power supply will probably be required, and that'll be worked out with the utility company. The existing sprinkler system that's in the restaurant will be expanded, may be expanded to the new addition.
Would you like to, you had an opportunity to review the board's review letters?
Yes, I have, and I believe I've addressed most of their, or all of their questions. I'd like to talk about the fire marshal report, which was received and dated July 11th, 2025. The fire marshal is requesting a knockbox be attached to the front of the building, which the applicant will comply with. He's asking for a 24-foot wide drive aisle around the entire building. The applicant has the 24-foot wide aisleway in the rear of the building. And I have another exhibit.
That'll be A4.
Yes.
Just identify that for the record.
And remember to put today's date again, please.
This is a fire truck turning movement plan. It indicates the size of the fire truck that is requested. So it provides access and the ability for a fire truck to drive along Charlotte Drive East, enter the rear of the building, and then exit out onto Charlotte Drive West.
And what is that plan dated?
It is dated 7/22/25. Sheet 1 of 1. So the applicant would be proposing the 24-foot wide aisleway to the rear of the building to satisfy the requirements of the fire marshal.
Okay, but he asked for it around the building, right?
They asked for it around the building, yes, but this is what we're providing. And we'll just have discussions with the fire marshal about that. They're also asking for a fire hydrant to be installed along Route 202 near Charlotte Drive West, which the applicant will comply with, and have a fire department connection within 50 feet of the fire hydrant on the building. The applicant will comply with that. And if there's any other requirements that the fire marshal would have, we would have those discussions with him.
Are you going to do that before the next meeting?
It has to be done for the next meeting. I mean, this is, I can't even believe you're here.
The Somerset County Planning Board has reviewed the plans, and we received a letter dated June 5th, 2025, where the Planning Board does not have any comments and approves the project. The Bridgewater Township Police Department, the traffic unit had no comments or objections to the proposed site plan. That was via an email dated 5/28/2025. There's a comment from the tax assessor where the two lots will be consolidated by deed within 60 days of the approval of the project. That will be done.
That's all the direct testimony for this witness.
I have a couple of questions for you for the parking lot. The parking lot in the back has a lot of spaces. To enter the banquet hall, when you park the car there, you have to come all the way to the front and to the side. That's where the entrance to the banquet hall is. So it's a long walk. So you don't even have any sidewalks along the western side of the building. How does someone walk with the cars coming in and out?
Well, they would walk along the pavement area. We have a sidewalk along the front.
Yeah, but on the western side of that building?
Yes, we have no sidewalk proposed along there.
Someone has to walk along that to get into that building from the front. Get into the banquet hall, they have to go all the way into the front and the side, right?
Yes, to enter the banquet hall, which the architect will talk about, it's through the proposed courtyard area is where you would enter the banquet.
If you parked in the back of the building, you have to take a nice long walk to get to that point. And
Yes,
there
correct.
are no sidewalks on the side of the building. And that's a question I have is, will that be safe for people to walk?
We'll take that under consideration. Do you have another question?
Really didn't answer that question. The question put to you was, is it going to be safe for the people that are parked behind the proposed two-story building addition to walk around the side of the building, get to the front of the building, and then find their way inside? Is that going to be safe?
Well, it's through a parking lot.
That doesn't answer my question. Is that going to be safe for those people to be wandering through the parking lot that's behind the building, then wandering further through the parking lot that's on the western side of the building to get to the front where there's finally a sidewalk for them? Is that going to be safe?
It's not the best situation, no.
Thank you.
It's really not any different than going to the grocery store and parking your car and walking to the grocery store. It's a typical parking lot. Most parking lots don't have sidewalks all through the parking lot.
He already answered the question.
Okay.
All right, any other board questions?
Yes.
I've got a question.
Please, Mr. Sweeney.
I'm trying to understand size, relative size, and I think what you threw out earlier was that there's 144 seats in the existing cafe. Is that, did I get that right?
Yes, correct.
How many seats are going to be in the banquet hall?
The banquet hall would have 100 seats.
When I look at your diagrams, it appears as though the proposed two-story building addition, which is the banquet hall, it's 2 to 3 times the size of the existing cafe. Yet it's going to hold just 100 seats compared to 144 in the cafe.
The architect would provide a better description of the interior of the building.
Thank you.
For events, you mentioned that you'd have valet service in the back of the building. Where are they going to park the cars?
Valet would park their cars in the parking spaces that are provided.
Okay. Your calculation shows, I think you provided 50 spots, is that correct?
Yes,
And you have 180 seats.
that's correct.
And 100 alone in the banquet hall. I'm assuming the clientele for the banquet hall could be corporations. Yeah, when you have that type of person attending your facility, I mean, how many people would be driving in each car?
I couldn't answer that, but it complies with the zoning requirements.
And where would there be overflow parking? Because, I mean, I understand it complies with the zoning. I mean, this is an R20 zone. I don't really know many people that commute to work as a group. Maybe they're very, very few. Understanding this is an area with many corporations. But, okay, if there's, where would the overflow parking go?
I'm not sure if there would be overflow parking. Project plans comply with the requirements of the zoning ordinance.
You closed off the entrance at 202. So now you're forcing 100% of the traffic to use residential roads. How do you, in your professional opinion, do you think that is a good way to manage traffic?
It's just entering and exiting onto the area that's currently used by both the restaurant and the church.
And how is it beneficial to close the entrance currently on 202?
Because it does not direct traffic coming directly off of Route 202 into the site. It provides a means to direct traffic onto Charlotte Drive East and then into the rear access aisleway.
Okay. My last question on the detention basin. Are there any requirements from offset distance from property lines to detention basins?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And currently, how far is it from the property line?
To the rear, it appears to be, I'll take a measurement. It's approximately 10 feet to the rear property line and 15 feet to the right-of-way over at Charlotte Drive East.
Okay. Actually, I had one more question, sorry. On the rooftop bar, you mentioned there's 30 seats. What's the occupancy load for these bars? I mean, is everyone assumed to be seated?
That would be a better question for the architect.
Will do. Thank you.
Any other board questions? Board professionals.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As far as the parking calculation, did you derive those numbers yourself, or were they given to you from the architect about the number of seats?
That was by the architect.
I had raised in my review memo that a count of the seats from the architectural plans does not comport with the 180. The catering part alone, just so the board knows, doesn't show 100 seats, it shows 104. So, I mean, it's only 4 seats, but that compounds with the other areas. Do you know if the courtyard areas were included in the seating calculation?
No, I don't believe so, because that's not included as a specific area. It's more of an area that if anyone was in the restaurant or in the bar, they would go there temporarily, or when they entered the facility, they would meet people in that courtyard area.
There's multiple, there's the courtyard area, and then there's the rooftop bar that has seating away from the bar, like lounge-style seating. Was that included?
Again, I believe the architect would be able to provide a better answer for where he calculated the number of seats from.
Okay, I just want to make the board aware from a count of the seats, including the lounge seats, including the bar seats, including the waiting area seats, and the banquet hall facility, that alone shows probably 200 seats. And I raised that in my memo because the restaurant is shaded out in that portion. I don't even see the restaurant seats to count those. And so I did question the validity of the parking count in relation to the ratio used. So I think that needs to be clarified. Hopefully, if this is continued to another meeting, that question is answered, because it's a very important one. I think beyond that, as far as the calculation used for the parking, there are multiple options in the off-street parking requirements that may apply here. The applicant's attorney had mentioned something about country clubs. I don't know if that's applicable. There are also social halls and places of public assembly. And then there's restaurants with catering halls. To Mr. Donahue, did you look at any of the other parking calculations to see if any of them would be more appropriate, or maybe a more conservative estimate of how many spaces might be required for this use?
I did not.
Okay, I'll save that for the traffic engineer if there is a traffic question. As far as, and I think that parking issue is a big one, so again, I hope that's answered at the next meeting. I'll let Mr. Burr ask his questions. That's all I have to answer this witness.
Thank you. So I'm gonna just add on to what Ms. Sarmad mentioned about the parking. So, and again, this may be deferred to the architect, but when I take a look at the parking calculation on sheet 3 of your plan, it mentions that there's 50 existing seats in the restaurant, but we heard testimony that there currently now is 144 total seats. I understand 72 of which may be exterior seating that could be modified with this new plan, but definitely something that needs to be looked at, because the numbers don't seem to be adding up, and that's a critical component to this plan. The parking shows 100 seats for banquet, 50 for the existing restaurant, and 30 for the bar. So definitely take a look at that. Have you taken a look at the current functionality of the existing restaurant? Have you been on site to see how the existing restaurant functions?
Yes, I've been on site.
So I only ask that because I'm curious what your opinion is. If there's 144 existing seats, and I took a look at the aerial, it looks like there's only 26 or 27 striped spaces. Does that lot function now, or is there occasion where there's overflow parking onto the adjacent residential road? Do you know that?
I personally do not know that. When I was there, the parking lot was not filled, but that was the time that I was there.
Okay. You gave a little bit of test.
Bill, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry. It's 10:01. I love hearing from you, but
Understood.
I'm falling asleep
Maybe a few.
here. It's
There may be a
it's
few.
past my bedtime. Ms. Jennings, this restaurant is a victim of its own success. This is a wonderful place to have a meal. I was there tonight. I was flabbergasted how busy it was. And to Joe's credit, it's an amazing restaurant. There's some fundamental problems I think that need to be addressed. Always safety comes first with this board. You know that. In your solar case, we spent a lot of time on safety. You addressed it. We approved it. You got to talk to our fire marshal. I mean, there's just no other way around it. We have to, first thing in the next meeting, we got to talk about that.
Absolutely.
I will go back to the restaurant, make sure the traffic is in the trash is in compliance. Why don't we find you another date where you can come back? If you could bring Mr. Donahue, so members of the public can all question on his testimony and any additional testimony. We'll pick up with Mr. Burr, our professional. And if Maurice has any questions, by all means, we like hearing from you as well. But members of the public, I know you've been here all night. I apologize. I know you want to ask questions, and you will definitely have the opportunity at the next hearing. So with that said, Maria, maybe you can help me out. We can find another date for Miss Jennings and Cafe Amelia.
So we have, right now, there are, the next available dates that only have one application on them are in October. So October 14th and October 28th, we have one application on each of those.
Residentials?
One is residential, one is Bridgewater self-storage.
Ooh.
The former being the homeowner and the latter being the self-storage in October. Thereafter, the next available full night we have is November 25th or December 9th.
So we leave it to you. Which would you like?
October 14th.
October 14th, that's the night with the residential, to clarify. Okay, great. So members of the public, Rich, why don't you announce it and make it official?
Members of the public, this meeting is going to conclude for now. It will continue on October 14th at 7 p.m. in this room. There'll be no further notices from the applicant.
All right, and for the board, our next meeting is August 12th, 7 p.m., this room. We're going to hear 821 JCC case. And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn, please? I move. Mr. Lundy. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, board. Have a great evening. Members of the public, thank you for coming out. Good night.
Welcome back.
Big bucks is